I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you are struggling right now, that's really weird.
Hey, fun fans, it's We Enjoy. Going to talk about Rocky Baloney today in the main event, the quasi legacy sequel in the era of reboots, the aughts. In 2006, when everyone was remaking things, Sylvester Stallone came out of his directorial hibernation to do this decades later sequel.
So is Rocky Baloney your like it stinks review?
Rocky baloney. That's my Paulie review for every Rocky movie. I'm just like baloney for this guy who's just gets more and more insane and drunk as the movies go on, and they kind of lean into it even more. But we'll talk about that in the main event today, with an aged Rocky having an interesting love interest in this movie. That's a very big age gap. Still not as big an age gap as Leonardo DiCaprio and his new girlfriend by a couple years, but and then we could
But
also
she's
talk.
not really a love interest, so we can.
No, I said quasi love interest. I said quasi. I quasi.
Okay.
There is a kiss, and it is sort of
Yeah.
a companionship. It is. She does fill a sort of a surrogate wife role for him at times. But anyway, I think it could have been love interest. She messed it up by bringing up that Adrian photo. We'll get to that. I'm getting way ahead of myself. I just watched the this week's Last of Us, Eric, and I know you still have to, but boy howdy, Eric, boy howdy. And you having played the game, you know kind of what's in store, but
Yes.
everything as with the show, as we know, everything is different but the same but different. Things get intense. Anyway, can't wait for y'all to watch it. And but first, we're going to do some entertainment news here. You notice a little different background I've got going on here. I'm dog sitting, so I don't even know if my acoustics are still good. Do I still sound gorgeous?
You sound amazing.
We are the Mattitude,
but it's fine. It's all
We're
good.
the Mattitude, Eric. I'm Matt Fowler. Say hello, Eric Goldman.
Hey, hello everyone.
That was a very long preamble by me, by the way.
No,
before we got to the Mattitude
it's all
part.
good.
But Eric, all the news that's fit to publish, some of this stuff, again, only sort of peripherally paying attention to news these days. So some of these things I knew about, the Billions and Dexter stuff we'll talk about, but what is this about? So Iger is going back to basics, I see, with some sequels for Disney. Frozen, Toy Story, and Zootopia are all getting sequels.
Yeah.
Zootopia, I feel, is overdue for a sequel because I very much enjoyed that movie, and I know it's got a big following, and so I feel like that should have had a sequel already, but the other two are cash cows. So yeah.
I mean, you do have to keep it in the perspective of, Frozen and Wreck-It Ralph remain the only two Walt Disney Animation Studios movies to ever have Rescuers. You have to go back to the Rescuers. There were three that got a theatrical sequel, not including all those straight-to-video ones they did in the 90s and aughts. So this is a new thing for them still to even be doing sequels to Walt Disney Animation Studios movies, but Zootopia does seem ripe for it. Obviously, they did the animated shorts about different characters. They're doing a big theme park stuff in other countries. So you can tell that they know there's a huge audience for Zootopia. But yes, it was one of the things. So there was, it was a big investor call today. And look, we should talk about the grim news also, which is 7,000 people are going to lose their job at Disney. Investor calls are so weird because it's like they're just kind of giving you all these like factual things that will also include like, hey, new content, but also like, here's what's bad things.
It's everything about the business very coldly with from the creative side to the actual human side of things. So yeah. But
yes, Toy Story 5 I know is going to probably get the biggest eye rolls because a lot of people didn't want them to do a Toy Story 4.
Yeah, Toy Story 4 was fine, unnecessary, and like definitely doesn't take the saga out on a high, which the previous one had. So
yeah, I like Toy Story 4. I understand, it's not as great as 3. I really wonder. I mean, we don't have to dodge a movie that made $1 billion. The ending of they're gonna have to reunite Woody and Buzz, right? Like they're not gonna dare be like Woody's off somewhere else now. I just don't see that. It's like, and that's the thing is like you undercut like because it was not as emotional as three's ending, but it was still an emotional ending. But every time it's like the diminishing returns of how many times can you have an emotional ending
when the toys just became like free range toys in the wild. That was so weird. It's like, well, don't you just want to exist in the world hidden from humanity? I don't know, that's crazy. Don't you just want to be junkyard toys? I thought that's the whole thing, was that they were like that we're avoiding for 3 movies.
Look, different philosophies. There's an evolution.
Yeah,
I'm getting better.
As Eric quotes Eric Stoltz from The Fly 2. Everyone, by the way,
as I like to do.
Yeah. Again,
but yeah,
for the 3rd time this week.
And Frozen is interesting because look, I unequivocally love the first Frozen. I think it got blowback just because it became so popular. Like it became cool to shit on Frozen.
It got parent blowback because they had to watch
and
it
there was
over
parent
and over
blowback
again.
because they were so sick of it. As someone who is not a parent and watched it whenever I damn well wanted, and listened to the soundtrack when I wanted.
Still, though, you watched it more than the kids. That was weird.
Yes, I think it's great. The second was disappointing. I
like the second one more than the first.
Ooh, interesting.
Yes.
But obviously still a joke. We're talking again. Toy Story 4 and Frozen 2 both made $1 billion in 2019. The pre-pandemic Disney. Here's just everything huge for us in 1 year. So like Endgame was so huge that it was dwarfing how many other movies Disney was releasing. They made $1 billion that year. So
not too shabby year for the House of Mouse. Happy to be getting a Zootopia sequel finally. Also would like to see a Big Hero 6 sequel. Both of those have shorts obviously on Disney Plus. And continued and animated. Disney Big Hero 6 was also a TV series, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then Baymax had his own shorts. And then by the way, it's funny because again there was like so much to filter with. Not only was there a lot to filter with the Disney investor call, but it was right when Twitter was completely fucking up and no one could use it. So I was missing some things, but it was one thing that it was one of those things where when you see something at a glance, you go, oh no.
No, see something, say something.
But then you see the full information, you understand, which is at a glance, it was like Disney Plus lost subscribers for the first time. It was like lost like 2-point-something million subscribers. And I was like, oh shit, that's terrible. And then there was more to it, which is, I mean, factually it's true. It's just, it was mostly in India and maybe somewhere else because Disney Plus in that used to have cricket in that area. Now they don't. It was like a weird, very area specific thing.
So it was it was like an international content thing that we wouldn't even include in our Disney Plus.
Right. Disney Plus was up for that same segment in America and many other countries.
Man, gotta get my fucking cricket fixed.
But yeah, there was very specific reasons that some people were like, no cricket, no me.
No cricket, no ticket.
And we're done with it. So there you go.
This one I don't know. This one you have to explain to me because you posted as a question too, as I read it here from the Google Doc. Yellowstone ending. I'll just my preface here is that Yellowstone is interesting because I feel like Yellowstone started 3 years ago and it already has 8 seasons and 7 spinoffs. It just feels like it all happened so fast in a very short amount of time.
I think it's more that it kind of snuck up on us what a sensation it became, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like I remember,
but they franchised it quickly. It's in season 5, but
yeah,
they certainly franchised.
So why is it ending, Eric? Why are they pulling the plug on the entire?
It sounds like
industry?
So. This was a Deadline exclusive that no one at Paramount would completely confirm, but that basically it sounds like. If it's ending because of Mr. Kevin Costner
and his paycheck, or he just doesn't want to do it.
He doesn't want to. He really doesn't want to work much. Here's what they say: sources tell Deadline that Costner, who had originally limited himself to 65 days of shooting, I assume a season. He only wanted to shoot. So I guess they split the current season. And so he said he only wanted to shoot for 50 days for the first part of the current season, which I think that they agreed to. But then for the second batch of episodes, there was a break and they were coming back. He said he'd only wanted to work a week. And so this has become a big problem because he's the center of the show, and they say that there's
I've
morale
never
problems.
seen Yellowstone.
Yeah.
But why can't they say his character loses his head, but they're able to preserve his brain, and they put his brain in a jar, and then the brain speaks through they put these little sticker microbes on it, and it goes through a speaker. So Kevin Costner only needs to do voice acting because of his talking brain, and then I don't know. Is this the right genre? I can't.
I mean, anything is possible in Yellowstone. Well, maybe everything you're saying can be who will they put? Maybe they put the brain inside someone else, because if you don't know about this story, then you don't know about Yellowstone is now such a massive franchise. Already obviously Harrison Ford starring in one of the spin-off prequels. And Costner were starting it.
How many days is Harrison Ford starring? I'm sorry, but if Kevin Costner is shooting fewer days than an 80-year-old who just got renewed for a second season.
Maybe he is.
Yeah.
But now the huge star that will basically replace, because what's not clear is if this really does fall apart and Costner's out and they decide we're ending Yellowstone in its current iteration, they already have a huge star lined up for the next iteration, and that's Matthew McConaughey. They're talking to.
Wasn't there a tweet where where Costner was like, "Hey, want to do Yellowstone or something?" Or was that? Fake?
Maybe. I don't know.
I think he tweeted at him. I thought it was just. Well, when I saw it, I just assumed
he's like, "I'm done."
No, I didn't know it was like, "Hey, want to replace me on a TV show?" I thought it was like, "Want to do a guest spot or something like that."
Well, no. So it sounds like he would effectively replace him, but they would start the show. Here's the thing. Paramount doesn't want this to happen because it's so huge, but it's also so huge as a franchise and is now sustained through multiple series that they can let it go. And if this happens, if Costner goes, the big upside for them is that the goddamn Peacock deal that they hate themselves for,
would be where they don't actually air Yellowstone on Paramount Plus.
Right. That would be, that if Yellowstone ends, then this new McConaughey show with a new title, that would, of course, be a Paramount Plus. They said it would still air on Paramount Network because that's been a nice deal for them, is first on Paramount Network and then not on Peacock. Then it would be a Paramount Plus as the streaming outlet for it.
All I ask of a show that I won't watch is, could they please, I think I feel like what I saw was, I'm trying to search for this thing, so I feel like it was like a fake tweet. Anyway, It would be funny if that is how he did it, though. Really I prefer to, my head canon is that it's actually true. All I ask of the McConaughey version of the show is that his wife be played by Kate Hudson. That's all I want.
Oh, all right, yeah, there you go. It's quite possible. And then I kind of loop these other things together, which is we talked already, right, about Showtime and Paramount Plus are merging with their terrible name, and we talked about how they want to do a Dexter prequel. But there was more this week, and they sent out official press releases as this stuff broke, to basically confirming it's all true, which is fucking franchise.
Which is funny because if we're talking Yellowstone, there's still the mothership, right? It's got Yellowstone and then the 2 prequel series, spinoffs. But to cancel Dexter, I guess New Blood, or you could call it Dexter something else, Dexter : whatever the new season is, and just go from there. Canceling that, the Michael C. Hall version, and just doing young Dexter, Dexter at large.
Well, but that's part of this story. So I don't know if you saw the full details here. So Showtime announced, we are developing Dexter Origins, which they're confirming the news from last week. They're also developing a new version of Dexter New Blood about Harrison. And they're developing another prequel series about the Trinity Killer. So
that's the one I don't care about. I have no problem watching Harrison go forward. That's fine.
Okay.
Again, here's the thing: if they want to, well, I guess I won't spoil Dexter New Blood for everybody, I guess. But if they're going to say some character is actually not on the show anymore, that's fine. Yeah. There was a way that they could have just gone forward with that character. That's okay. Yeah, Harrison. That's a cool way too. Also, the kid who plays young Sheldon should play young Dexter, and just
transition right there. Everyone. I mean, he's like 15.
I don't want to see young Trinity Killer. I don't know. I think all the blowback of Evan Peters winning awards for portraying Jeffrey Dahmer and thinking of the actual victims, the families of the victims of his crimes having to watch some guy, like do acceptance speeches for portraying a murderer. I don't know. Trinity Killer, his murders were so gross and gruesome anyway, as he wasn't even a Trinity Killer, was he?
Right.
He was a quadruple kill, whatever, the quadrangle killer. Which is I don't know. I don't want to watch that. That's the one I'll watch. I'll give the other two a chance, but
well, anyway, 3 Dexter spinoffs is nothing compared to 4 Billion spinoffs.
That's
because
true.
Showtime also announced that they are expanding the Billions universe, which I didn't know was a universe, but it is. Billions.
Well, it is now. It wasn't it was only one show, right?
Well, that's their terminology, Matt.
Is there a theme park I didn't know about?
Billions Miami, Billions London, Millions, and Trillions. Those are all 4 different things I just talked about.
Fucking ridiculous. That's an onion headline.
No cajillions yet.
What about flillions?
It all seems very silly, but the other thing I just added to the script, just we have nothing to say about these because we don't know these shows, but so Bosch is developing 2 other spinoffs. It's already on its first spinoff, although it stars Bosch, which I always think is so funny. It's just like, Bosch with more Bosch. But now they're taking 2 supporting characters and they're developing spinoffs for them too. And my main thing I want to say here is, Dexter is a show we watched every single episode of, good or bad, and we watched the sequel series of. But these other 3, Yellowstone, which is obviously a juggernaut already has multiple spinoffs, but now you've got Billions and Bosch, which I know are hits, but the fact that all these shows are getting multiple spinoffs, which might not all be successful, but it really does show you, because what's something that all these have in common except Dexter, they're not tweeted about a lot.
No,
well, it's
Showtime shows in general, Showtime doesn't have and it's funny that
but Yellowstone and Bosch aren't Showtime. I'm just saying
old. It's just olds being old.
They lean older, but they're not only older, but just the fact that it's circling back to I'll mention just in passing the Avatar's the 4th biggest movie, the new one is 4th biggest movie ever, but people aren't tweeting about it. It's just the fact that there are things that are giant hits.
With this all through covering TV, which is like the CBS procedurals that had monster ratings that had no online presence. And again, so that's the Avatar is basically the cinematic version of those. But it's and the thing is, and it's not just like fans aren't tweeting about it, or at least our circles aren't tweeting about it, but no one's doing recaps or episodics or what about that huge twist? We were talking to the showrunner of Billions, it just doesn't get the online coverage because the audience isn't there for it because they are elderlies.
But that doesn't mean
just people who aren't online. And these shows are relatively cheap because it's all office buildings.
Right.
Offices. It's kind of like watching White Collar, which is for a while from the old USA Characters Welcome days.
Yeah.
Or not White Collar. What was that? Suits.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone was just
we got royalty from that show, Matt.
We did. That did give us a what is their title? Is the Duchess of Sussex?
Something like that. And then they gave I don't know.
2 words for you, Sussex.
Anyway, so just funny to see all this universe building off of shows that people might think are unlikely, but again, have a lot of people watching and have been very lucrative for the people making them. So there you go.
My takeaway from all
Bosch for everyone, Billions for everyone.
I'm happy. My takeaway is that I'm happy Zootopia is getting a sequel.
There you go.
That's it.
But that's the thing. We're only going to get a second Zootopia, and there'll be 90 billion shows.
Somehow, for some reason, the Zootopia sequel will have the Trinity Killer in it. I'm like, what? Why?
Oh my god!
My point is, after all this, is why don't they just ask me what I want?
I don't know. They should get that system set up, but they haven't yet.
All I use Paramount Plus for are the Star Treks, so that's it. I guess there's occasionally something I watch on there, but mostly it's the space adventures. Yep. All right, that's a lot of TV show that's in a world that's already full of too much content. Billions Miami, Billions London, Millions.
Yeah.
What's the 4th one I'm missing?
Trillions.
Fuck off.
See, Millions is about 30-something wannabes, so they're only millionaires.
I assumed Millions was a prequel series before they got to Billions.
I think it's just they haven't ascended to billions status.
Harrison Ford as like a forefather,
and then
Trillions was a millionaire.
Trillions is about the richest people in the world. They say again. I want Kajillions about the richest people in the universe.
I was gonna say Kajillions is like the future.
That's what I'm saying. That's Paul Giamatti's brain in a.
I think I just resent Billions. It's a show I don't watch, but it's also taken Paul Giamatti away from movies and things I've seen to the point where the only thing I've seen Paul Giamatti in like 5 years is playing Albert Einstein in it's T-Mobile ads. What are they? I can't know, but he's literally playing like, oh, I am Albert Einstein. Like it's like I said, this is what Paul Giamatti's doing. If you didn't know he was on a TV show, you'd just be like, I guess he came out of retirement to do this stupid TV spot.
All I know is that Damian Lewis continued his tradition of not finishing, not being to the end of a Showtime series, of a hit Showtime series that he left Billions.
He's going after that Sean Bean prize, is he?
But now they're going to try to get him back for one of these 20 spin-offs, I'm sure. So.
What is it going to be a brain in a show?
No, I'm theorizing.
Okay. All right, let's get.
You're a brain in the jar. Everyone's
let's get out of here. My God. Okay. So Eric, the reviews are in. I'm not going to read all of these notes, but Dexter, not young Dexter, not Dexter Origins, Dexter, Jesse, Jared, David, Curtis, Mark, Brandon, and many, many more all left us lovely notes on Patreon about the word is out, Eric. Our dive into the Gods and Monsters DCU next phase from James Gunn on our Patreon. If you're a Hudson Hawk, they said, do more like these, please.
It's a hit.
It's a hit. It's a top in the charts. It's top of the bill. It's the marquee player, and everyone loves it. Okay. Other than that, we have Sean wrote in on Patreon to say some good things about Wolf of Snow Hollow, which is a movie I recommended last week. Wolf of Snow Hollow is so good. Jim Cummings is absolutely perfect in that movie. It's such a weird movie, Eric, and I love it. Whenever maybe next time you got a sore throat, little tickle, don't feel like working, just throw on Wolf of Snow Hollow.
All right.
Curtis writes in on Patreon, I know Eric is the resident ranker, but I feel like Matt especially is ready to give us a ranking of the Rocky franchise on, quote, how bad is Paulie in this film metric? Curtis, I don't have an official Paulie's horribleness ranking for you, except to say I feel like he's at his worst in Rocky 5 when he loses the family fortune.
Sure.
Followed probably second place by the first Rocky when he's just a shit to Adrian most of the movie. Maybe that's actually tied with 3 where he's a racist.
Well, that's more of a twist.
It's a reveal. Everyone's talking about M. Night's Night.
Because they say in part 3 you have to reveal new things you never do.
That's true. Rules of the trilogy. He's at his best in 4. He's at his most tolerable because he gets a robot and he falls in the snow. But I don't. Really
he makes a funny noise.
He goes, Joe writes in on Patreon, hey guys, I'm actually going to Disney World pretty soon. This is from a few weeks ago. I hope pretty soon wasn't last week.
It might have been.
For the first time since I was 8, and I was wondering if you guys have any recommendations, rides, food, shows, or anything.
Outdated recommendations.
I'm sure not much has changed since 1993. As long as my boy Goofy is there, I'm cool. Goofy died killed Goofy years ago. It's horrible. They actually hanged him in Liberty Square. It was awful. Sam the Eagle
did something terrible. So
Joe, I will recommend 2 things. Always, because I don't know how much longer it's gonna last. Go to Country Bear Jamboree.
That's long gone.
What?
Disneyland or Disney
No,
World?
Disney World.
Oh, Disney World. I thought you said land. Okay,
no,
never mind.
No, I know it's not I know, because that's one of the things I resent about Disneyland is that Critter Country does not have country bears anymore.
Much as I resent Disney World for not having Mr. Toad.
Yeah. What did they put? The Winnie the Pooh ride there?
Yeah. Which is funny because Winnie the Pooh ride is replaced the country bears at Disneyland. So
anyway.
Damn,
That's a
Winnie the
switchback.
Pooh.
That's
Take
a
it away.
switchback I don't approve of. Yeah, so Country Bears, and then obviously Cosmic Rewind. If you can get on it over at Epcot, it's worth going to Epcot for Cosmic Rewind. The Guardians.
Yeah, my two like. Well, that's not true. If he hasn't been, and he probably hasn't been to Disneyland either, they're kind of.
Yeah, I like. Are you going to which parks are you visiting, Joe?
I mean, are you going to all of them? Because it's like they all have like an easy highlight, like Magic Kingdom. Well, Magic Kingdom not as much because Magic Kingdom is like the classic, and there's just like the classic rides. But the other parks in recent years have all gotten like a crazy great ride, which is Hollywood Studios at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge has Rise of the Resistance, which is amazing. Cosmic Rewind at Epcot, and then Flight of Passage in the Pandora World of Avatar,
and then also in Animal Kingdom. Expedition Everest too.
That's a great ride, but Flight of Passage is like oh my god ride. But so those are all like the standout rides. Now, of course, as he's learning, if he hasn't been there in 30 years, the whole system there is so frustrating, and with the lightning lanes and the the Disney, the Genie Plus.
It's awful. It's awful. Yeah, and we wound up paying for Cosmic Rewind the first time, and I think we paid for it the second time. If not, we actually got a lightning lane. One of our party has health has a long-standing health issue, so like we were able to, if you are in a party with somebody who has I don't know what they call it, a medical pass, you can get lightning lanes. The old-fashioned way where you're like, you pick one, and then when you get in line, you pick the next one, and then how that goes. But they need to revamp that whole system. I don't know if that's what priority that is for Iger at this point as he comes back.
I mean, I don't know if you saw, Matt, a few weeks ago, there were a bunch of, they were positive changes as far as like bringing back some stuff like, giving free parking back to people staying at the Disney World hotels, and making you still have to wait to park hop, but now it's up to 11 a.m. instead of 1 p.m. And there was just like a bunch of things that were certainly improvements on some of the sucky things, but there's work to be done. There's plenty of work to be done.
I think, man, I feel bad because, going to Disney World can be really overwhelming. I wish I knew which parks. If he was trying to do all four, I was like, where are you staying? What are your, I'm going to break down Joe's whole schedule.
What are your goals?
Yeah. What do you want to do?
But also, it all might have happened in the past, so it doesn't matter.
He's like, I only went to Animal Kingdom. All right. Richard writes in, I will miss you guys shitting on Paulie every week. I also wanted to thank you for doing the Royal Rumble recap that was over everyone on our We Enjoy Wrestling podcast. I feel like wrestling was not the best when you did We Enjoy Wrestling, so it's nice to hear you guys talk about good wrestling. Looking forward to hearing you guys discuss Mania. All right. So the podcast everyone was hooting and hollering and raving about, which is our breakdown of James Gunn's next phase of the DCU. You can get that if you are a Hudson Honk level patron on Patreon, and so for $4 a month you can get commercial-free versions of these regular weekly podcasts along with our bonus eps, the next of which though it won't be the only one this month, the next of which will be Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Yep.
All right, Eric, let's go into good things to enjoy. Your good thing to enjoy this week is I'm looking at it right now. What is it? Tell the people.
It's 1985's Reanimator. Sometimes I can't think of anything, and I just am like, let's just pick something I like from the past. So I decided to pick Reanimator because it's such a cult movie. To the fact, it's a very beloved cult movie that has a lot of like merchandise and T-shirts and figures, while also probably being seen by a relatively small amount of people. So I'm sure there are a lot of people, especially if you're younger, who've never seen Reanimator. Probably like, even though H.P. Lovecraft has obviously a big following, just as in horror writing, this is kind of the most well-known like specific adaptation of his work, which is funny because it's so heightened and like very purposely comedic. It came out in an era in the mid-'80s where we were kind of getting a lot with like Evil Dead 2 and Return of the Living Dead and this movie. I think I mentioned Reanimator in passing when we talked about
and Night of the Creeps too. We could throw in
Night of the Creeps, yeah. there was definitely this sort of although Night of Creeps isn't quite as super gory as some of those other ones, but these movies that were like, we're having fun here, very visceral, very, makeup effects had really evolved at this point, so it's like we can like tear people's bodies apart, but we're going to do it with a wink, and kind of let you know that we're kind of in on the, this being kind of goofy and fun. And this movie is a mad scientist movie. It's one of those notable horror movies. I'm looking up at I have all these NECA horror figures, and of course they're almost all the killers. And the two big exceptions that jump out, well, there's three actually, because I have a Rowdy Piper figure from They Live, but the two ones that really jump out at me are Ash from Evil Dead and Herbert West from Reanimator, who is kind of a villain in the movie. I mean, not the villain. He's not the villain, but he's definitely demented, and he's like Dr. Frankenstein. He's like causing the bad things to happen because he doesn't think about the consequences. But yeah, this is a movie about a mad scientist who can bring the dead back to life. He's experimenting with a serum that will resurrect people if injected, and he's trying to perfect it and try to make it work. And he doesn't he's acting rashly to do that. And what happens at this university that he's attending as a student when he decides to willy-nilly try out his serum, and what happens after that, and it involves reanimated corpses. And really this movie is a spotlight for seeing Jeffrey Combs, who is not a star. He's beloved on the horror scene first and foremost because of this movie, but he's had other really fun roles. But this is an amazing, a character actor just getting to do a part that no other part would give him this quite centerpiece of, and he kills it. Yeah, no pun intended. He is so great. He is so sort of specific and mannered and quirky. This is also the movie that put Barbara Crampton on the map as sort of a big, beloved horror icon herself,
who writes a column every month for the Quarterly Fangoria.
She does indeed. Barbara's awesome. And this was Stuart Gordon's directorial debut. He would make several other horror movies after this. Anyway, I revisit this movie quite a bit. There's again one of those ones here in LA where they kind of screen it pretty frequently. I'm a bit friendly with Barbara. I've actually watched this movie with her at the New Beverly, where guess what, Matt? It gets a great response. No, it's super fun. There was a stage musical based on this movie, like Evil Dead.
I saw the Evil Dead musical in Vegas.
Well, I saw the Evil. That's where I saw the Evil Dead musical.
Where they have the splash zone, yeah.
And the Reanimator musical I saw in LA, which also had a splash zone. Or a splatter zone, and it's super fun. And this movie, if you know your lore of H.P. Lovecraft, it involves Miskatonic University, Arkham, Massachusetts, a lot of things that are a part of the bigger H.P. Lovecraft verse are part of this as well. And it's very, very fun. It is unrated. It goes pretty damn far. There's one scene in particular that is sort of infamous for you think it's.
I remember. I can't not think of that scene without also thinking of.
I know
your mom watching it with us, and she was hackling her ass off.
Delighted.
Just thought it was the funniest fucking shit. She's
a
not
scene
wrong.
that other
She's
parents will lose their
other parents who aren't Carol Goldman will do some extreme sports version of pearl clutching.
Right. And might storm at this point in our lives to the video store and be like, you let my son rent this.
Right.
Filth.
Filth, this satanic demon. Yeah.
Yes, but not Carol. She enjoyed it. And then she found out that Stuart Gordon directed it, and she knew him from her Chicago theater days because he was part of the Chicago theater scene that she was as well. Anyway. You should watch Reanimator if you haven't, and you're okay with things getting very visceral and seeming like they're going to cross a line that they don't quite. And it's actually on a few places right now. Close enough. Close enough.
Yeah.
It's on Shudder.
It's like, are we sure about? Do we know this? Are we sure about this?
It's on Shudder. It's on the streaming service Arrow that has a lot of cult stuff. It's on Canopy, and I'm assuming if it's on Shudder, that means it's on AMC Plus as well. So there you go.
My pick this week does not push the envelope. It doesn't go any of these places. It doesn't go any place. It doesn't do anything. It just sits there. No. My pick this week, I watched.
There's no characters, no story.
I can't remember if I watched it on the plane to and from I went to Europe twice last year. I'm quite the jet
Ooh.
setter. I can't remember if it was to Portugal or from Germany this last time. But
Who can keep up, Matt?
who can keep up with my
Your
crazy
Ethan Hunt?
Well, you know what? When you're Interpol like me and you're hunting the night fox, renowned jewel thief, I have to fly where the case takes me. This was a plane movie, and it was very enjoyable. It's called Kimi, and it sort of silently came out, like very quietly, as a lot of Soderbergh projects tend to do sometimes. Even the new Magic Mike, which feels like it's quietly coming out because I don't hear peeps about it anywhere. Soderbergh wrote, directed, shot this movie like he does with all his stuff. Produced by David Koepp, and it came out in 2022, just last year. It's on HBO Max, and it stars Zoe Kravitz, and it is a small movie, and it feels like very small budgeted, small-minded, not small-minded,
Small-minded,
small, close-minded, just narrow views on everything, not socially conscious at all. No, but like it feels like Soderbergh calling in a lot of favors to Soderbergh players like Erica Christensen and like other people he's worked with. Zoe Kravitz is kind of the most famous person in this movie. She's the lead. And basically, Kimi is a Alexa type device. It's like a smart speaker home aid that also controversially listens and surveys the people in the house to build up a better algorithm and repertoire with the people in the house. And Zoe Kravitz plays an agoraphobic and anxiety-riddled young woman who, and this was sort of almost a COVID-19 project. I think it was actually made during like elements of, during COVID-19, but they worked it into the story in the point where like COVID-19 and the lockdown exacerbated her, Angela is the character's name's, her agoraphobia. So she's basically, and then she discovers she's a Kimi tech, and she works on the coding and corrections for the software when there are problems. And she hears what she believes to be a very violent crime happening. And it's a sort of a very tight conspiracy movie, like very small scale, but very effective and fun. And Zoe Kravitz is great. And it hits a lot of familiar thriller beats, and it builds up to a very fun ending that I really enjoyed. And I thought Kimi was very effective. Soderbergh knows how to make just really solid movies. It feels like this was like, hey, I got a couple locations and a camera. I want to make a movie type thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really liked it, and I recommend Kimi.
Yeah, I need to see it. I've heard really good things about it. And Soderbergh's so impressive because he's just so prolific, but he makes movies of every size, every scale. It's funny because it's like the third Magic Mike is coming out this week, and it's not getting great reviews, but it's like it's one of those things where it's like he just keeps doing stuff, and some of them don't get good reviews, and some get great reviews, and some are huge, giant Ocean's 11 movies, and some are tiny micro budget movies.
This is a tiny micro budget, which is how he started with sex lies and videotape and stuff like that. So he can work on a budget. This is a smaller movie. It doesn't break the conspiracy thriller mold, but it's well done. And you're into it. It'll suck you in, and it'll keep you engaged. You won't just be on the edge of your seat. You'll be on the edge of the seat of the guy next to you. I, for the life of me, could not find. I searched every iteration and variation of that quote that I could think of came out of someone's mouth or was in someone's printed review, and could not find it online. I know someone said it about something.
I know someone said it. I don't know if it was a real review or just a funny a quote from a TV show making fun of lines, but it absolutely was said by something we watched. I do remember that.
Because I wanted to bring it up with the whole AMC charging charging more for the center seats.
We didn't talk about that.
Punishing poor people. You know what I mean? The theater is no longer egalitarian. It is a hierarchy, and whoever can pay more can sit in the middle.
AMC that's dumb.
It's bad news bears.
It's
anyway,
bad and it's dumb.
Kimi is on HBO Max. I recommend Kimi. Okay. Next week's main event is we're breaking out of the actual Rocky franchise, and we're sort of doing the tangential saga now, the breakout new franchise. We're doing Creed, the first movie, directed by Ryan Coogler, and Creed is rentable, but if you have DirecTV, you can either like basically download, record it via your DirecTV, or use your DirecTV login to go to a Turner app like TBS, TNT, or True TV. You can watch it there. Okay. Creed next week. Right now, we're talking about Rocky Baloney. Rocky Balboa, 2006. When was the last one? 1990. So 16 years later.
16 years, yeah.
16 years later. Stallone looked pretty good in Rocky 5 in 1990. 16 years later, he's already doing shit to his face to the point where, his eyebrows are now drawn or tattooed on. I can't remember what he did to make his eyebrows stay the same way that they did, but he's had work done. He's still in great shape, obviously, at the end of the movie when he takes off his shirt and he's boxing and stuff like that. But it feels like way more time passed than just 16 years for some reason. I don't know why. That could just be me. But directing this movie officially and not like puppeting someone else, as the rumors sort of state he'd done on many movies, especially
in the 90s. Yeah,
this movie also, what was the budget on this movie?
I don't know. And it was a lingering thing. We didn't talk about it last week, so I just want to mention that Rocky 5 was like a big bomb for the series. It's like
it was. Yes, but like compared to what the other movies made, I agree with you. But like also, well, God, 42 million to make Rocky 5, 42 million.
Yeah, at that point, a lot of it's going to be Stallone.
I guess like if it makes 120 off of 40 million, it's not the biggest hit in the world, but still it made 120.
It was notable because you had 4 mega hits, so it's like a discernible, notable drop off.
But we can all understand. Rocky 5 was such a departure from the movies that came before it, to the point where there wasn't even a boxing match at the end of the movie.
It was 5 years. It was different. I know people have kind of reclaimed 4, but 4 had a lot of terrible response itself, and then 5 got awful reviews and awful word of mouth. 5 was like still it was made to be the final movie, so it's not like, oh no, this killed the franchise. But I guess my main point here is because 5 was so weakly received. We've talked about this when Dexter New Blood and Matrix Resurrections both debuted close to each other, and the idea of like redoing your poorly received ending.
Yeah.
And that's what Rocky Balboa really feels like, is like, and I think they even said it's like Stallone knew 5 was so poorly received, he didn't kind of want to go out like that. So it's like, let's give them a more satisfying ending, seemed to be the real, goal here with this movie.
Not to and I do like this movie better than 5, and so it is a step up. It is a better way to close out that saga. Not that the character is done at all, because the Creed movies will go on. But I think, and I don't want to spoil too much about our Rocky Balboa chat here, but as it stands with me, Eric, and I'm not a ranker, Rocky 3 is the best Rocky movie.
Rocky 3 is probably the best Rocky movie because it delivers everything like you want from a Rocky movie. But I'm gonna say I fucking love this movie, Rocky Balboa, and
oh wow, I didn't know that you were so into this
so much. Rewind, and I remember crying the first time, but like this movie gets me, and I'm gonna even go further. I was waiting to see where you were going with this, but we'll talk about it. This to me is easily the best Paulie for me, and Paulie makes me cry in this movie. With some of the stuff with him, the little moments. This movie really, like, there are,
this movie's fine. I don't have the, I guess I don't have the adoration for it that you do, but like this movie was, I think this movie's fine for what it is. It's definitely a better ending than 5. But I don't think I'm as enamored with it as you are. But good. I'm glad that it tugged on your old heartstrings and made Paulie more palatable.
It made Paulie my favorite character.
Palatable Paulie, which is hard to say.
And this is your first time ever seeing this, right?
Yes, for someone like me with mush mouth, I can't say palatable Paulie.
Mhm.
Okay, so
I saw
just wanted to comment about how this movie, the lighting of this movie, it's very specifically lit. Like, I don't know, the contrast of light and dark in this movie, like when they're everything looks like an Oliver Stone flashback.
Well, I was going to say, but also I know what you mean about the lighting, and also it definitely reflects the era it was made, which
Yes.
now that because it's a lot of handheld and pseudo shaky cam where the Bourne sequels are coming out, and this is kind of a thing. So there's a lot of like, and sometimes in like oddly in scenes you wouldn't expect it, like the first scene with Robert in the lobby of the company he works at, where it's like handheld. It's like suddenly like, it's very like, and that was just a very much obviously a thing of the era. And you have Stallone, who hasn't directed in a long time, deciding to kind of like evoke that. So yeah, it definitely has and I know exactly what you mean about the lighting. And then of course the final fight will go to this like thing where it's like the black and white, but the pops of color with the blood or the blue and gold on the different, groups and whatnot.
Just high contrast here. I'm normally I'm not for fridging the girlfriend or the wife, but they'd run out of things it was clear that they weren't going to give Adrian anything to do other than what she'd done a million times before. So the fact that they killed Adrian, even though Talia Shire was still alive, and I don't know, behind the scenes, it's like maybe she just didn't want to come back and do it, and that helped to make that decision for them, or if this was always what they wanted to do with Adrian.
I think it makes
for the Rocky character,
it makes a lot of sense for the story they're telling, because the flips, if it would have to be a dramatically different, it would either have to be a very different story if she was in it, or it would kind of feel almost sucky to her if it's like she's not enough, like, because the way the movie works is like losing her has like really taken his like, life force from him. And so it's because of her that he feels this like, that he's got to maybe go back in the ring and do this stuff. So I can see why, like, if even developing the story, she would be like difficult to have her in this movie if you wanted to tell this story in some weird way.
Because she would just say, I don't want you to fight. And then in the third act, she'd be like, you know what, go ahead and fight.
Go ahead and fight. Yeah.
do the classic Adrian. And then it just makes it sadder that he's had this falling out with his son in the wake of Adrian's death, and that the first 15 minutes of this movie is so sad. It's like one of the saddest things, and it's in a movie that like calls back to the point where like Spider is there eating for free, and like
Spider Rico, same actor from the original
movie, and not the original actress who played Marie from the first movie, but like the character is back in a big way as a main character in this movie, played by an Irish actress, I believe. But like the same turtles. Turtles live a long time. These turtles are going to outlive Rocky. Spoiler, because turtles live forever. They live for 100 years. And so, the fact that like the turtles that Adrian sold him are still alive and they're thriving, by the way. They're probably at their peak while everyone else is sort of crumbling. And like even so, Paulie in this movie, he's taken on like 16 years later, he's like the neighborhood lunatic, just sad and drinking all the time, and anytime he walks into a place they think it's some like inebriated hobo that needs to be kicked out, when it's really just Paulie.
Like, both things can be true.
I know, but like he does still need to be kicked out. But like he's so mad at like, skipping it a little bit, like to the like every year since her death, Rocky goes on like the first date tour, which it's so sad, and Paulie agrees to do it, and at the end he like, you realize why he's so angry about it. He's just like, I don't like thinking about this because I treated her like shit, and like finally
and that's when he made me cry. Like I thought that was so good. Like,
but it comes right after he said, I'm glad they tore down the ice rink. Like, I'm glad they fucking tore it down. Like he said, I mean, ice is stupid.
I do think this movie just has a more realistic Paulie, which is to say, it doesn't backtrack on who he is. He's still casually racist.
Yeah, he's still casually racist. He's still
a drunk and an asshole. It's just that I do think this movie kind of threads a needle of making it be like he's kind of a little bit self-aware to be like he's more self-aware about kind of his life sucking and him sucking, and that, you know, that Rocky is like sort of the one good thing he has. And I think, you know, obviously Burt Young's always given a good performance, even that's what you hated Paulie. But like in this movie, there's a couple moments where Paulie really gets through. That's the first one, but even near the end, like, you know, it's like obviously he's much more like kind of giving Rocky advice, and he's much more instead of like the tearful thing in Rocky 4 about, you know, how great you are, I wish you were me, but then, you know, then they make it into a little jokey thing. Here, just him being like, you know, I love you, I want what's good, like basically being like, you know, I want something good for you, and basically seems to be self-aware that my life has always sucked, but, you know, you've been a good part of it.
Maybe,
you know,
his life wouldn't suck so much if he wasn't in this constant one-sided battle with ice and snow.
Well,
how about that? It's like,
Paulie
ever since
Origins,
I fell in that snow in Russia,
Paulie Origins will
I fucking hate ice.
Little
Fucking-
Paulie animated series.
With little Louie. Okay, so Rocky, humble house, not the same house from Rocky 5, but still in the same neighborhood. Still wakes up every morning, feeds the turtles. I don't think you should feed birds gumdrops, but who am I to tell Rock the Champ what to do? I don't think that's good for them. But
and I think it's like, yeah, obviously Rocky 5 was going to this ridiculous extreme of like no money, no way to make money. This feels much more realistic as far as like someone who was a huge star. He has a successful restaurant, and he's a local hero that wherever he goes, you know, everyone knows him.
He recounts the stories, and from the first time we hear him in Adrian's like telling the story, he's telling the story to the table, and the way that the people at the table are acting, they've heard the story.
Yes.
So it's like he's repeating the story.
This is part of the shtick.
They're filling in the lines for him, and like he wears the same jacket all the time. And you know, he cares enough. He's the one, he goes to the farmer's market and gets all the produce and meats and stuff himself every day in his van. He's still in shape. They show us him doing, you know, pull-ups.
Yep.
And yeah, but this is his life. And before we even know about the kid, he still calls him the kid, who I assume is in finance or something. We don't know what his job is necessarily. He wears a suit, he's in an office building, and he gets yelled at by his boss. But how long ago do you think Adrian died? Just, they say a few years ago.
The tombstone tells you 2002.
So 4 years previous.
The tombstone gives you two facts. One, that she died in 2002, and two, that this series still is completely fucked up with time and continuity, because the tombstone also says she was born in 1950, which can't be true since she was specifically 30 in the first movie. So she should have been born a few years before that, but the series loves to contradict their own timelines.
Well, at least Duke gets to be Duke again.
Well, yeah, definitely. He even has he has a whole name placard that says Duke on it.
They can't take that away from him.
That's right.
So yeah, it's just, he's basically a widower existence. We assume he goes visits that grave every morning. Yeah, like every morning. But, you know, so much so that he's got a chair stash in the tree.
Yeah,
his sad sitting chair.
But you know, but yeah, like, you know, mourning her to a extent that's not healthy. Which again, it's like, you know, Paulie's the one who's doing it, but you know, Paulie calling him out on it. It's like you're living your life backwards. It's like he's so like can't get past her death that it's like it's really kind of stuck him into this sad rut, because that's like basically all he can think about.
What do you think the storyline reason was for Philadelphia taking down his statue?
I mean, in real life, the statue's not where they have it in the movies at the top of the stairs. It's somewhere nearby. So I don't know.
I just wondered, like, are you still mad they tore his? I was like, what did you do, Rocky? Like, what happened?
I don't know. I think
something we don't know
like,
about,
are you
like, in between?
what are we supposed to think? Why did that happen in this?
Yeah,
I don't know.
is it because he beat up someone on live television in
No,
front of
they
a bar
loved it.
in 1990?
Philly loved that.
They built him a second statue for that and put it right next to the other one
of him beating up Tommy.
They go Rocky Two Statues Balboa.
Yeah, I don't know. I bet it was some suit.
Well, the second statue is him beating up Tommy Gunn. It's like an actual.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So then, okay, so much like some of the other movies, like much like the first and second movie, this one goes ahead with like Rocky living his life, and then he kind of like happenstantially collides into a match. People come to him with an offer. Like he's just living his life without thinking about getting back in the ring necessarily. And then they come. Well, I guess the computer fight makes him want to do small stuff at least.
Yes, it does inspire him that he's going to actually even get back in the ring. By the way, before I forget, there are two things we have to talk about at the top of this movie, though, which is how does it open? The Rocky logo, it's Rocky Balboa, with the yellow. Mm-hmm. But this time they pull a little bit of a Mission Impossible, Matt, because it's over footage we'll see later. It's all stuff from the full movie as it's going by.
Or they show you the end of the movie as the fights go on. Yeah,
they're showing like him like walking in the light of the car, and they're showing like they're just showing these little glimpses of the whole movie.
Well, then I also skipped over this part before we even get into Rocky's life. We meet the champ. Mason Dixon,
the champ,
in his montage of fights, and people booing him and throwing ice, and announcers doing a lot of the plot heavy lifting, which is to say, like, he's never gone the distance. The fans want a boxer with passion. He's just sort of going through the motions. He, basically knocks people out so fast that, like, I don't know. We've had boxers do that, and they became superstars. So, like, the Rocky universe. Boxing fans are pretty fickle because they only want people that go like
they want their money's worth. They want like the WWE can promise you. It's funny because it's kind of it's ultimately it's kind of the third time that we're having Dixon is basically like a bit of Rocky and Rocky 3, but also Apollo Creed when we meet him, which is like someone who's naturally skilled but kind of resting on their laurels. Not fighting real threats and kind of coasting at that time, but certainly a huge difference for this series after 3, 4, and 5 is that he's ultimately a sympathetic character. Like he doesn't come out of this movie as like an asshole or
right. He doesn't become a Tommy
someone
Gunn.
Who murders.
So
he's
a blend of Apollo, Rocky in the third movie, and Tommy Gunn. Because the fans boo him and hate him and like think he's being spoon-fed people and like don't think he's got passion or something. This is though after an unblemished, undefeated record and as champion. Well, I don't know if it was all as champion, but like Tommy Gunn had like just won the title and people were giving him shit.
They were already.
It feels a little unfair, but
the 1990 crowd they were tough.
So Mason Dixon is played by an actual boxer named Antonio
Tommy Morrison was,
who was Tommy Morrison a champ? I don't know boxing.
No, he was like an upcoming and unfortunately didn't.
Antonio Tarver held a lot of belts, but titles, championships, whatever you want to call them. And then we should also mention Milo Ventimiglia, pre-Heroes in this movie, right before Heroes broke.
Heroes debuted the same fall, didn't it? Like this came out.
Was it 2006?
Yeah,
I
thought it did.
No, because I was working at IGN, right?
I'm correct. Heroes had premiered, so he'd already filmed this, but this came out while Heroes was having its beloved first season when this came out. It was a big year for him because this was coming out in the middle.
I didn't start at IGN in 2006. It was later. That's crazy.
No, you didn't. I started in 2006.
I feel like I was covering the first season. I don't know.
I mean, you might have covered it as a freelancer, but
maybe. Yeah. Okay, so, and then Tony's back. No other big names. So the actress who's playing Marie is Geraldine Hughes. who I don't really know from stuff.
I remember her from Gran Torino. Now, did you read that they had brought Marie back as a character in the 5th movie, but cut her? And it sounds for the best what they're going to do with her.
Are they going to kill her? What are they
No,
going to do?
it was the actress from the original. Except
Is Tommy
that
Tommy Gunn going to break her neck in front of Rocky?
It's just that, remember, it was basically Rocky warned her. She became a loser prostitute because she hung out with the hooligans and didn't take Rocky's advice. And it was like a weird, well,
it's funny because who is to say, I mean, I'm not going to call it, so this version of Marie, right? Like, who are we to cast stones and call her a loser? She's definitely somebody who's still in the neighborhood. The unglamorous job as a bartender at the Lucky 7 Tavern that's been a mainstay in the series. And yeah, like probably not, I just presumably not where she thought her life would be at this point. And maybe she wished of bigger things, grander things. So I'm not saying like she's wound up in the ultimate damned spot because she didn't listen to Rocky, because maybe she did listen to Rocky.
Well, no, I'm saying she did. I'm saying that the Rocky 5 version.
No, the Rocky 5 version was like the worst case scenario of it.
Yeah.
My point is there's no elements of dialogue in this movie. Like they revisit it and he's like, you said screw you, creepo, and all that. Yeah. But we don't know what direction Marie actually went in. Did she ever listen to Rocky eventually, or did she not listen to Rocky?
But I like her. I like it. It's a nice performance. And, obviously it's like they made this decision that it wouldn't be a full romance. But I think that's by, the way this movie ends is obviously, again, with the assumption that we would never see Rocky again. You feel like the way this movie ends is like, maybe now they can have a romance.
Yeah, I feel like they will and they should. Yeah. I feel like they should and they could and they would. And this is someone who wants Maggie and Negan to get together and have sex on Glenn's grave on The Walking Dead. So this is where my head's at.
And I'll say it's funny. It's like I don't think as much as you can be like, oh, when they met, she was 15 and he was 30, but it's not like they had like an ongoing relation. I don't think you can accuse Rocky of grooming. But I will say the characters are supposed to be like 44 and 59. It is funny because they cast an actress who's 10 years younger than Marie should be. She was like mid 30s, this actress, but she should be mid 40s. So that adds a level,
a little older or whatever.
Yeah. But that's Hollywood for you, man.
That is. So I'm just saying also, like, maybe after this movie, because he goes the distance, he doesn't quite win, but it's a great feel-good moment for both fighters at the end, and he goes to the grave and everything, that maybe they can get together. But she definitely cock-blocked herself in the middle of this movie when she showed up and gave him the portrait of Adrian. She's like,
he's like,
I brought you something. Your
it's like
wife.
A threesome, Rock.
I thought she could watch. I thought I'd just put her on the nightstand.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So life goes on. He's got his restaurant. He's got a strained relationship with the kid, and we learn later it's because the kid just, for whatever reason, like feels like he's in his shadow and can't do anything without people wanting to know about his father and stuff like that. I don't know why he didn't change his last name, by the way. Because he was saying like Balboa is sort of a curse for him, but yet it's the only reason he got the job in the first place. Yeah.
He doesn't use Rocky. He's not going Rocky Jr. He's Robert. I did like that there's the one callback to when Rocky does say like home team. He does evoke Rocky V.
Home. You mean the thing you said to Tommy Gunn?
Right.
He puts his earring back in. He invites the bullies over for
Christmas
Christmas
to find
again.
Jewel and the bullies.
And then then they run this. It was all the rage at the time. Computer simulated fighting, entering data into the computer. Pre-algorithms, so whatever the primitive algorithms would be for this type of match back then, and they show Rocky Balboa beating Mason Dixon, and it's a big hubbub, and the kid actually sees it, and in a night out with the boys at an Irish tavern, the Italian at an Irish bar. This sort of also spurs, we occasionally also join up with Mason Dixon and how he feels sort of lost and adrift. And he even goes back to his old trainer and talks about like, he doesn't like where he's at and his legacy and what people are saying about him. But he's not like bitter and angry and arrogant about it, right?
No.
And then his friends like make him watch the simulation and stuff like that. And it all just sort of eventually snowballs through the movie to the point where his team pitches it to him, and then they go pitch it to Rocky. And it feels very much like a sort of, like we were talking about, a big mishmash pile of things we've seen in this franchise before. An exhibition fight, someone wanting, but like at this point, it's wanting Balboa to help his reputation, to help Mason Dixon's reputation, not vice versa. Not like I'm going to give a loser the time of day and, like Apollo is doing, I'm going to use a past champ to make people like me more. So anyway. And Paulie still works at the meat factory. I was very surprised about that too.
He does, but he's also he does a little painting. I want to mention that Stu Naham gets into this movie by being a commentator on the computer simulation. So they have their Stu Naham factor. And then when it's like Rocky decides that he like to maybe box again, and that's when Paulie does you mad because they took down your statue. But it's Stallone. I think. I mean, Stallone gives a very good performance in this movie. I think. I mean, obviously he's going to get an Oscar nomination for Creed, his second playing this character. But I feel like he gives a great performance in this one as well.
You know what? It's like because he goes back to eventually in those movies, Rocky became a big dumb baby.
Yeah.
And he was a little too revenge driven in 4, so it didn't quite feel like the Rocky we knew.
No.
And then he went back to being a big dumb baby again, and it felt stupid. And this one felt like the best balance of like
yes,
who he was in the first movie, but as somebody who actually grew up and matured a bit. Because the guy in that first movie could not have given the actual speech he gives to his son that became like a huge soundbite used in commercials.
Yes.
Which is it doesn't matter how hard you get hit, it's how hard you can get hit and keep going forward. That whole speech is being used in a lot of advertising. It's a great speech. Rocky from those first couple movies could not have put those words together.
No,
you know what I mean? Like in that way. And let's also, as far as like Rocky also like motivating people, the fact that he actually gets the boxing commission to like agree, like he gives a big speech and it kind of actually makes sense. What he's saying. So he's become quite the orator and motivator in this movie, where he wasn't previously.
He does. He gives a lot of good speeches this movie. And like one of them I think is when he's telling Paulie he wants to box again, and there's some stuff in the basement again, because I'm very pro Paulie this week. I like the Paulie's, but again, because this isn't an evolved Paulie, because this Paulie's saying tell me about the stuff in a nice way, not in a fuck you way. Wanting to hear.
I mean,
and then
this is an evolved Paulie, like if you count garbage becoming melted garbage. But sure,
well, I'm saying it's like he is still garbage, but he's also there's an evolution of the garbage. But this is a great scene with First Alone when he's saying, I never knew it was going to be this hard, and he's like breaking down in tears. That's also the scene though where Paulie says, not knowing he's about to be fired soon, but he has that line about, because he asked Paulie if he'll help train with him, and he says no, because, and he's like, you stay in one place long enough, you become that place, that like the meat factory, him in the meat factory. He can't leave it until they leave him, Matt.
It should also mention that there's the computer fight, but also Marie. So Marie comes in and adds I mean, it's not a romantic spark at this point yet, per se, but it's like a companionship. Like, first of all, Paulie is no kind of companion. The kid is ignoring him. Fucking Paulie is just like always off vomiting in a corner.
But a nice Paulie moment when he says, come down and see me train. And he goes, of course, Rocco. He's
Stop defending fucking Paulie.
God, I love Paulie so much.
I love Paulie. He's my favorite movie character. I'm gonna get you a little Paulie dolly.
Paulie dolly. That'd be the dream.
And
they made all those great NECA figures. They made Paulie's the meat that he let him train with. They didn't make a Paulie figure, for God's sakes. Come on.
I mean, if they make a Paulie, it has to come with the robot. It's like a
yeah, they made the robot. The robot got a figure.
But no Paulie. Everything that Paulie touches gets made into something, but not Paulie himself.
Not Paulie.
No, but like Marie is there as a companion, as somebody who can have a legible conversation with him.
Yes.
That, yeah, he probably has, thinks is attractive and likes and like, but like to the point where it is literally, he was standoffish at first. He's like, hey, you want to meet my kid? And he's like, no. And then he changes his mind. And so he kind of becomes not a father or husband, but just like a presence.
Yeah.
A stable presence in their life.
Yeah.
As, with the son's step and then her and like offering her a better job and like improving their quality of life and maybe their happiness quotient a bit. And they, to him as well, as far as like, he's getting the son and the wife he doesn't have anymore.
Right.
And he's having conversations with Marie about fighting that he would used to have with Adrian.
Yes.
And she is there filling a role, but everyone's using each other, but it's beneficial for it's sort of mutually.
And it's nice because she does ask him directly, like, what are you doing here? What's happening here? Like, why are you being so nice to us?
Yeah. But everyone's getting what they want from each other. Everyone's got, and it reminds me of like the first movie when he's like with Adrian, we fill each other's gaps. Right.
Yeah.
And in sexy ways and not sexy ways. So anyway. Okay, so they pitch the fight to Rocky. They go to his restaurant. And
we should also mention that, you mentioned that he gives a good speech to the board. It was brought up the minute this movie opened that they kind of skipped past the brain damage part, and Stallone just kind of said in interviews, medicine's evolved, and they were wrong about what they said back then. But it is funny that they could have thrown it in a line of dialogue, but they don't. So they're just like, you're cleared.
Paulie also gets fired. He gets his walking papers, and he like goes into the restaurant insane and scream. I feel like anytime Paulie comes into that restaurant while carrying weird shit or meat or just being drunk, wouldn't everyone in that restaurant know who that is and like just be like, oh, it's Paulie? Like he comes.
Some of the regulars. I mean, obviously Marine's never met him, and so she's confused. But some of those regulars at the restaurant would know. Oh, that's Paulie.
I feel like Marie should. No one's left this neighborhood. I feel like
you're
Marie
right.
should know who Paulie is.
She should know him. Even if she never knew that they were brother-in-laws, she should know. Oh, that's that guy.
That's that guy.
Yeah.
You're telling me Paulie doesn't go into the Lucky Seven?
Oh yeah. You're right.
He was in there in the first movie.
She should know him. I do like that. We get a call back when he goes. You gave me a watch. There was a little watch call back here.
Yeah,
he doesn't break up
the Rolex he ruins.
Yes. My boyfriend Paulie.
I love Paulie so much. I would have smooched him all over. What else did Burt Young do in his career? Have you seen him in anything? Let me check.
Yeah. Wait, there's something.
Oh yeah, Back to School. Obviously, he's the limo driver.
I was like, there was something I watched a shitload in the 80s.
Yes, it was Back to School. Everything else I didn't know. But yeah, he's still been a ton of shit. A lot of TV too.
Yeah.
Long career. Okay. Where are we in the movie?
This
Rocky's
is when
mulling over the fight.
Well, yeah, he gets the offer, and he understandably is like, I don't want to get mangled and embarrassed. And I also like, when he's just he's got that line about am I just trying to replace old pain with new pain? As far as like, when he does sort of consider this. And again, still sort of trying to like work things out with Robert. But yeah, that scene, I forgot. I was trying to remember, Matt, like what was the commercial that got a lot of play with that speech?
It had to be like Nike or some sort of athletic wear or shoe commercial, right?
You're right. Yeah. And but it's a great scene because, I do like it because Robert, while you could understand where Robert's coming from, he's also being pretty whiny. And I like that Rocky's just like, look.
No, I liked it because
yeah.
we already saw Rocky apologize to him and sort of like come hat in hand to him in 5.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that at this point, and here's the thing, the more he hangs out with Marie and Step, the more steps, the more confident he becomes as far as like, if this had been Rocky pre-Marie, he may have become more like, hey, I'm so sorry you feel this way and that I've done this to your life and that my lane, and that you've had a hard time. But at this point, he feels like a little, I don't know, he's found his footing a little bit more post Adrian, and he's got no time for Kid right now.
No, I like him calling him out on his shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway. And then there's something we hadn't seen in a while, a press conference.
That's right.
With Duke being there. Yeah. And it's always interesting, like, who shows up, because Steps is there, Paulie's, all these people are there. Reporters are still driving the plot forward with their questions.
They're not as completely hostile as they were in Rocky 5.
We need an answer.
Right. Tell us something.
And but yeah, then it starts becoming a little Mason Dixon starts becoming a little more cocky,
because they have, there's that, because one of the reporters does have that line about, well, people look at this as a fight between a has-been and someone who's never was. She doesn't say never was, but that sort of thing, a has-been and someone who's never proved themselves, and so Mason, he definitely gets pissed about that.
Yeah, we flipped the script a little, because it ain't about how hard you get hit speeches after the press conference. The Kid comes to him because he sees the press conference on TV, and then I always like, because they didn't do this at all. Like, Rocky 4 had the novelty of, like, he's training in Siberia in the snow, lifting logs and throwing rocks and all that stuff, even though there wasn't even like a rudimentary sense of like, how is he training differently fighting wise to fight Ivan Drago? There's none of that. Here, they really do like say like, all right, you're old, you can't do shit. The only thing you can't
do speed. The first time I helped train you, it was all about speed, but you can't do that anymore.
You can't do this. You can't do this with your knees. You can't do anything. So the only thing we can do is train you to be so strong that when you do hit him, it's going to hopefully knock him out. Blunt force trauma, horsepower, they call it. So he's training not for speed at all. And then they bring back the drink and the eggs, and this time he gets to run with Punchy up the steps. So the dog goes,
and he holds up Punchy, and we're intercutting with Dixon training, who, a la Rocky and Rocky 3, has gone back to his non-fancy gym. It's unlike an Ivan Drago. Again, because this movie has a sympathetic person for him to fight. He's also training, the real way.
Yeah,
and then Paulie sneaks him into the meat plant so he can hit the meat. Not a euphemism.
Stop defending Paulie.
Paulie. That's what this movie should have ended. Everyone's chanting Rocky, but
he's like, no, who you should be chanting for? This guy right here, Paulie.
And they all lift him up like a king.
They just lift him.
And he's made king of Las Vegas.
And he goes, yo, Adrian, I hate you. And then he lifts his fist. Punchy reminded me of Hank, your dog.
A little bit. He's a Hank.
Little Hanky. Little Hank.
That was my dog. My lovely dog.
And okay, so then they have a little bit of like words before the bout.
Well, basically Dixon's saying, hey, we'll put on a good show, but if you actually try anything, I'm gonna hurt you.
Yeah. Again, not villain stuff, but like enough to make you want Rocky to kick his ass.
Well, yeah. I mean, you get that he's legitimately pissed at everyone saying like you haven't really fought anyone. So yeah, he's now making some threats here.
And then this is the scene when Marie comes to him in his hotel room, and she's like, "Hey, you want to see something really hot? Your late wife."
That's right.
The picture.
Yes, and they have a sweet kiss.
Yeah, it's a precursor, a prelude to future seduction.
And this one I want to bring up something, because we get we go into the fight and we're seeing like footage of Rocky's fighting career. Now, did you notice something that was absent from this movie, Matt?
Like, narrow it down for me.
There is
You just said something's missing from this
images,
movie.
and there are clips.
Because I'm going to say Paulie getting hit by a truck.
No.
That's what's missing from this movie.
There's a lot of, like the Rocky movies in general, but this one is, has reason to. There's a lot of photos and there's a lot of clips from previous movies, but there's something missing from those in this movie.
Rocky's ass from Rocky 4.
No.
From Rocky 5. What is
any actual image of Carl Weathers as Apollo Creed? We only get the painting, which now is an in-universe painting that hangs in Adrian's of Rocky and Apollo. But of course, that's an abstract version. I remember when this came out, there was something about this. There was some issue. Carl Weathers, I don't know if it was he was having an actual issue with Stallone or it was a money thing, but he would not clear his likeness. So there is no footage of Rocky fighting Apollo. We see Rocky having won the title as an image. We see him fighting Clubber, Drago, and then all the montage from 3 gets used, so we can see him fighting a bunch of people.
Well, like he says the name Apollo because he's telling stories.
And Apollo's talked
at the
about
restaurant, yeah.
But Carl Weathers wouldn't clear,
and he holds up a picture, and he looked like this, and
I don't think it's a plot spoiler to say Carl Weathers cleared his likeness for the Creed movies. But when Rocky Balboa was happening, there was some issue. I remember reading an article, and I can't remember if it was like he was pissed about something or his money. It was something. It was 2006. I couldn't find it at a glance, but yes, watching it, I was like looking again. I'm like, yep.
He was riding high on Arrested Development money.
There you go. There you go. Got us too.
So, it's funny, like how Rocky movies through the eras that we've reached Michael Buffer now, and let's get ready to rumble. Being an announcer in the ring, it's just funny seeing him, come into the modern era like that. Even though Rocky comes out to high hopes.
Paulie's choice, because Paulie knows best. Also,
I'm gonna put you and Paulie on a deserted island together. You're like, yay, my dream.
I hadn't seen this movie in a while, so I remembered Spider Rico came back in it. I remember he was in a lot of it. Like he's
doing the prayer at the end.
Father Carmine isn't around anymore, I guess. So he does the prayer, but also, of course, he insists on working at the restaurant because Rocky's comped him dinner. We get the idea a lot. So
Father Carmine, so much for all that prayer, right? You're just gonna die.
You won't live forever. All right.
All right.
And then, again, look, this is not a subtle movie, not a subtle series, but not a subtle movie. In that Paulie, great, wonderful.
Stop
Paulie.
Bringing up goddamn Paulie.
It's very direct with him saying to Rocky, "I know you got a lot of stuff to get out of your system. Tonight, you do it." That this fight is gonna get him through his shit and let him move forward in his life.
Yeah, and afterwards he was right. He's like, I got nothing. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
I'm done.
I'm good. Unless there's a spin-off series I'm a part of.
I'm good. Well, I mean, fighting wise. Yeah.
And then also it's also funny. You mentioned Michael Buffer, that we're in the modern era, and they're also, Rocky Marciano was mentioned in previous movies, but it's just funny because I forgot Tyson has a
Mike
cameo.
Tyson's in this, yeah.
And also they directly evoke George Foreman. They go, if old George Foreman shocked the world with one punch, why can't Rocky Balboa?
When did these guys champs all through the 80s when Apollo Creed
how does it
champs?
fit?
Like, when did they have time to have George Foreman and Mike Tyson as champions? When did they?
That's a good question. But I was going to mention that, when this movie happened, one of the, both, justifications to people saying Rocky's going to fight at this age, but also, Stallone saying a reason the movie happened when it did was Foreman doing that fight. That Foreman at an age way past you'd think.
That was, I remember that.
So it's just funny that they actually name dropped that fight. That fight gets mentioned in this movie. Be like, see, it really happened.
And then we've got Rocky getting his ass kicked. Obviously, faster, more athletic, younger opponent.
And he's showing that he's slower. He's missing. Like,
he's missing a lot. Yeah. But it's funny because did not expect this. Didn't know that it can necessarily even happen in a boxing match. He injures his hand. Mason injures his hand on Rocky's hip bone.
Yeah.
I think the announcer said.
Wasn't it Drago who said it's like punching iron? So yeah, it's like.
Well, I just think it's interesting that was there without ever being like, and I had hip replacement surgery, it's like, oh, maybe he had a steel plate there or something like that.
He's fucking Rocky.
But yeah, but that gives Rocky the opening to start laying in some haymakers and uppercuts and roundhouses, and basically eventually this fight, like most of them, not all of them, not like the Tommy Gun fight or anything like that, but other ones become, if they go the distance, they go rounds, it becomes a montage. You're not going through every single round.
Yeah. Two lines I liked here were, well, one was, they have, because I just mentioned Drago being like, it's like punching iron or whatever he says, but Dixon has a man's got bricks in his gloves. Just like Rocky is feels like you're fighting, solid. But then also the commentators are funny because one of the commentators is a fanboy who's like, I can't believe it, I'm here. And then when the fight gets real, one of the commentators says, welcome to Rocky Land, which is like, it's like their wink to the audience, like, yeah, like, this is turning into a Rocky fight now. Like we're gonna do a montage and it's gonna go to the very end. This crowd is gonna get,
it goes black and white and it goes different, color schemes and stuff like that, different angles.
Duke screams, bomb him.
And and it gets down to the wire to a Rocky goes out punching when the bell rings and the 10th
we also
round.
we get one last flashback of Screaming Mickey to motivate him.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm in hell.
From hell, the demon Mickey is screaming
like, save me. And and then a split decision. What?
I have to mention,
what? Stop talking about Paulie. I swear to God, I'm gonna hang up on this. Bring up Paulie.
No. Again. I'd like him saying, what is it? They're going to the final round, and like it's a big moment, and obviously, and Robert's like, "There's nothing more to prove." Rocky goes, "One more round, and we go home." And Paulie's like, "Rocco, the last round of your life." Like, that this is, and Dixon has the "You're one crazy old man" line, and you'll get there. Good stuff.
But, when all is said and done, he's again amicable split. You're a great champion, and Rocky thanks him for the opportunity, and it does for Mason what his team wanted it to do, which is like have him go multiple rounds. This actually went all 10 rounds. Very narrow win, split decision, but very narrowly won by Mason Dixon. Maybe he didn't want it to be that close, but it seemed to. You can imagine going forward, his career will be. This is a legendary, memorable moment in his life and his career. And then after Rocky's about to leave, the one more arena chant for Rocky, and he turns around and sort of soaks in the applause and the adoration. And then he's at Adrian's grave, and we get the "Yo, Adrian, we did it." Mm-hmm. When the Rocky theme is played very sadly on piano, as a almost like a dirge, and then he turns to Paulie. He says, "Yo, Paulie, I did it. I killed you." And he strangles Paulie on Adrian's grave.
Oh, you watched the different version.
And he watches the light leave his eyes, and.
I've waited 30 years.
I still got stuff in the basement.
Bodies. I got bodies in the basement. A couple things I wanted to mention were it is in the final round, because he's already been knocked down a couple times in this fight, but he's almost knocked down again, but he stops himself, like one fist down on the ground, and we hear him talk to himself in the head. He's like, "What is it you said to the kid? It ain't how hard you can hit, it's how hard you can get hit." So it's like he's motivating himself. He gives a lot of good speeches in this movie. He gives one more.
I didn't. You think he's hearing that?
Oh yeah. That's Rocky talking to himself. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then obviously a very specific callback to the end of the original. Both with the split decision, but also that Rocky doesn't care. In the original, it's because all he wants is Adrian, and here it's like he's just happy he did this, so he's already walking out before they've even announced who won, because it's like, just like in the original, that's not important to him. Yeah. And obviously it's like, look, it's like, if this movie made the wise decision to not have Rocky win this fight, and then of course it's full circle if he loses by decision again. So there you go. The closing credits are funny because it's very sweet.
All the people doing the Rocky run,
all the fans, which is obviously a thing that people do every day in Philadelphia.
But also this was the era when this was mid-aughts, things were just starting to be a thing, like going viral or doing an online thing or doing like recording yourself doing a bit was
YouTube's like a year old at this point.
Yeah, just starting to become a thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
and so this movie sort of capitalizes on what would later become things like the Ice Bucket Challenge or stuff like that, like doing the Rocky Run, filming yourself,
10 million TikTok dances. But it is funny that it goes from that to that final shot, the very somber shot of Rocky from behind on standing at the top of the steps, looking out over the city like he's Batman, like it's all like, you know, darkly lit, and it's like, you know,
he says to himself, he was like, I know you're out there, Paulie. I'm gonna find you and I'm gonna fucking kill you.
No, Matt, he doesn't say that, because why would he? Because Paulie's just such a wonderful person.
Paulie's just sunshine and fucking rainbows.
That's right, Paulie. Anyway, loved Paulie, the movie.
The movie B, Paulie A+.
Yeah. I know, I really dig this movie. I remember digging it when it came out. And you know, having not seen it in a while, I was very happy that it still worked very well for me. It got me in all the feels, not just because of Paulie, but he's an important aspect. And definitely, I think did its job, because, like I said, I think Stallone even admitted, like, he didn't want to go out on Rocky V because that movie didn't work. This is a much better ending to the series, even though now, of course, it's not the very end of the actual franchise.
Well, the end of Rocky's story in the ring, anyway.
Yeah, and it was a big hit. This was his biggest hit since, you know, Cliffhanger was kind of his comeback movie, but unfortunately, none of his follow-ups did that. You know, even like Demolition Man, which we love, didn't do that well. Much less stuff like Judge Dredd. So this ended up being his biggest hit since Cliffhanger. This like made a lot more than people were expecting going into it, because there was a lot of understandable sort of snark going into this, like, oh, he's going back to Rocky again. Oh, and, you know, Rocky's so old, gonna fight.
Well, and then at the same time, was it before or after this that he also did the much later Rambo sequel, just called?
I believe
Rambo.
It was after. Yeah,
which I also thought was good.
Mm-hmm.
Like that Rambo movie with Julie Benz was fine.
Yeah,
it was pretty.
I haven't
good,
seen the one after that, but people did not seem to like very much.
No, that was the one that just came out like a few years ago, right? Like in the middle of last decade. Yeah, I did not watch that either. That was when he's like in Mexico or something.
Yes.
No, I didn't see that either. Well, that was called like Last Blood or First Blood. It went back to some other title.
Oh, that series is close to Fast and Furious, with the confusing
like the sequel is,
of like where the numbers go.
because it's First Blood, and then it's Rambo First Blood Part 2.
Yes.
And then it's just Rambo 3, like Rambo 3. Then
it's
lose the First Blood altogether.
Yes. Then it's John Rambo, and then it's
John Rambo. Was
I'm
that
sorry,
the one I was talking about?
No, I'm sorry. It was going to be called John Rambo, the last one. Then it's just Rambo, the one you're mentioning.
Rambo, yeah, right.
Yeah, which was 2 years after Rocky Balboa. But then the last one was going to be called John Rambo, but instead it's called Rambo: Last Blood.
It is Rambo: Last Blood. Okay.
Yes, but it was going to be called John Rambo at one point. So, yeah, but
right.
That's a whole other story about a whole other guy
doing a bunch of different things.
Yeah. No Paulie, no me.
I hope Creed 3 he kills Paulie's son somehow. We don't even know that Paulie has a son.
The bloodline must end. The bloodline
must end. Your legacy is no more.
Kills him with a giant fucking slab of meat.
Just fucking torch you and salt the earth behind you. All right. That was Rocky Balboa. Not a bad movie. I think it's one of the better ones, but I didn't take it to love extremes like Eric does because of the Paulie factor and how much he loves him so much. The Paulie.
Yeah.
It's a racist alcoholic. Treated his sister terribly. Treats everyone terribly.
It does, except his robot.
Eventually he treats the robot terribly.
Probably. It would have been so God. I think we mentioned this last week, but it would have been really funny if they showed the robot being sold at that estate sale.
I was expecting it to be
right.
like I wanted to know how much it went for, because they took the bike from under Rocky Jr.? Why? Because Rocky Jr. loved that robot.
So they
He was,
could have taken the
riding
robot
it
from
and,
under
listening to
Paulie.
it. Why couldn't he have been riding it and listening to music? And they're like, "We got to take this robot from you, kid." All right. Okay, everybody. Switching gears slightly next week with Creed. Rocky's still involved, but it's not his full story anymore.
Yep.
And with Michael B. Jordan stepping into the shoes of Apollo's son.
Mm-hmm.
And until next time, everything is possible, but nothing is real. And Shakma.
I love you, Paulie. Shakma.
Fucking hate you so much.
Shakma!